Hey guys, so today I am bringing you a really short, really sweet, stretchy class. It's pretty basic beginner level for those days where you might not want to move a lot. Super short, super to the point, not a lot of energy in this class, pretty mellow. Yeah, so if you're feeling mellow, this is the class for you. There is one pose in the middle that's thrown in there to decide if you wanted to do it. So listen to your body. That one is more intermediate and you do not have to take it. It's just there for you if you're craving that after getting a little bit of movement in. So no worries if you skip that one, but the rest are all beginner accessible to pretty much everyone. So go ahead and come to your space. We're gonna start in all fours. Bring the knees a little bit wider than the hips, but not too wide. So just a tiny bit wider. Top of the feet pull towards the knees, heels squeeze in. Knees press wide to get the glutes to lift. So instead of being tucked under, they lift, they're engaged. Hands are wider than the shoulders. Sit back towards the heels. Inhale, pull the head, the shoulders, the armpits, the ribs away from the hips, pulling your way forward. As you exhale and sit back, don't let the ribs collapse. So the ribs resist forward. Inhaling forward, resist the hips back. So finding this inner push-pull in the body, trying to create more length in the spine, more space for each and every disc in the vertebrae. Moving forward and back, hands pull towards the knees. Knees continue to press wide, belly tapers in as it lengthens long. As it lengthens long, that's a new one. All right, on your next exhale, sit back. Bring your right foot to your mat. Bring the right knee up towards the ceiling. Left foot, take it from neutral, kickstand it off to the side. Hips move back towards the left heel. Dome the right fingertips. Inhale, lengthen the right ribs up towards the ceiling, left ears towards the left shoulder. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, expand the ribs up. As you sit back, don't shorten the belly, don't tuck the chin. Keep the space there. Push the floor away from you with that left side. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, stretch the right arm off the mat. Stretch it long. Hips reach away from the hand. Hand reaches away from the hips. Push into the feet. See if you can get the belly even longer. As you sit back, bring the right hand to the right side of the head. Press the head back into the hand. Open the front of the throat, but don't collapse the back of the neck. Keep space there. Exhale, right hand comes to the left ribs. Inhale, lift the ribs up away from the floor, spiraling up and open towards the ceiling. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, spiral up. Exhaling back. Once more here. Exhale, right hand comes back to your mat. Push the floor away, get the ribs really big, so sometimes they collapse. And then right outer foot lifts up, little bicycle here. And since it's not quite a class focusing on so much strength, instead today let's focus on length. Push the foot away from you. Get the belly really long. Lengthen through the entire body. Stretch the right arm long once more. Reach the arm and leg away from each other. This is where option for advancement might happen. If you're feeling strong, if you're feeling good, take it. If not, just stay here for a couple more. Option to always bring the right foot back down, or left foot swivels towards the left hand, opening the ribs, lift up, reach up. Hand might connect to the knee on that right side. Press them into each other. Get longer. Open the belly, the throat. Exhale. Right foot's going to land right next to the left shin. Hips sit back towards the left heel. Reach up and long. Bring the right hand to the right side of the head. Press the head back. Open. If you feel it all squished in the left side, slide the left hand a little bit further away from you. Get a little bit longer. Make sure the hips don't thrust all the way forward. Keep a little gentle crease in the hips. Exhale, right side comes back down. Take some big barrel rolls here. Circling the ribs. Switching directions. Little pulse forward and back. Tuck the toes, lift the knees. Pulsing forward and back. If this is too much, stay on your knees. Knees forward, hips back, ribs and head are lifted. If you're on your knees, just where we started, looks more like this. So choose which is best for you in this moment, hands and knees or hands and feet. If you're on your hands and feet, bring the knees back down without collapsing the ribs. So keep the ribs nice and lifted. Swivel left knee up towards the ceiling, right foot comes off to the side, flexing through the ankle, toes are soft and long. Left fingertips dome, right ear towards the right shoulder, allow the ribs to really lift up. Exhale, sitting back. Inhale, expand, push the floor away from you on that right side. And then on this next one, free the left arm, stretch long. Hand and hips oppose each other. Reach long as if someone was pulling your arm away from you, someone else pulling the hips back behind you. Keep that length. Left hand comes to the right ribs now. Gently rotate and lift the ribs up. Exhale, release the hand. Inhale, lift the ribs, spiral open. Push the floor away, make more space around the right shoulder. Once more like that. Exhale, sitting back, dome the left hand once more, fingernails down to the floor. Lift up through the ribs. Left outer foot lifts up. Knee lifts up. And then little bicycle here. See if you can push the foot back behind you without straightening the leg, without losing your hip crease. Lengthen the head forward. Stretch the foot back. Find some more space here. Option to stay, option to bring the foot down and rest, or option for that advancement. Right foot comes towards the left hand, and then you begin to open the knee up towards the ceiling, push the floor away from you, spiraling open. Reach long. Left hand and left knee connect. Exhale, left foot comes in front of the right shin. Hips move back. If you feel squished in the right side, slide the right hand out a little bit. Even if you don't feel squished, explore a little bit more space here. Inhale, lift the ribs without flattening through the hips. So the hips stay tucked back. Left hand can come to the left side of the head. Press the head into the hand. Support the neck. Lengthen the back of the neck, opening the throat at the same time. Exhale, left side comes back down. Find some deep barrel rolls here. Bring the knees a little bit wider, hips move back. And then you can keep the hands here. You can bring them closer together. Or I like to make a little soft fist with the hands. Pinky side presses down. Lift the ribs, the armpits up away from the floor and pull them away from the hips. Hips pull back, ribs pull forward. Maybe a tiny little pulse here. If this is too much, elbows come down. Try the exact same thing on your elbows. Elbows press wide. Don't let the shoulder blades move towards each other. Get them nice and big. Whew. All right, bring your hands back to your mat. Come back up to all fours. We're almost done. So lift the knees just enough to twist the left hip down. If you need to get there a different way, go for it. Left hip comes down to your mat. And if you're new to bow spring, you probably need to, even if you're not, you might need to pick up your hip, slide it back a little bit. Our tendency is to kind of push it forward too far. Right hand presses down into the floor, and then the left arm slides along. Allow the ribs to rise as you lie on your left side. Right knee lands in front of the left. Take a moment, slide the left hip and knee back a little bit. Right knee in front of the left on your left side. I'm going to pause because I know sometimes this can be quite confusing. So right knee and foot in front of the left. Hips are back, knees are forward. Take a few breaths here. Breathe into the upper back. Keep the legs just as they are. So especially if you're new to my classes, this is a pose where people really want to change more than they need to. So legs stay. They're going to stay right as they are. The head rolls back. Arms stretch up towards the sky. Couple options here. If you just are ready to relax, you can relax in this pose. I like to stretch more and get more length and space. So I'm kind of going from a relaxed pose to a more toned pose. So right now nothing is happening. I kind of feel some stress wrapping around the core of the body. It feels not as good as it could. So for me, I'm going to press down into the floor with my right inner foot, my left outer foot. Press down and forward with your feet. Don't move them, but just press. And that will allow the knees to move forward, the hips move back, and lift the belly up. Tone through the arms, lift them up towards the ceiling as if you're lifting something a little bit heavy, not too heavy, but something you need to have your arms strong for. Energetically push your arms down towards your hips, lift up from underneath your armpits. Continue to push into your feet. See if you can get the belly to be smaller, the low belly to be open. Keep everything the same. Bring the left hand to the outer right knee, right fingertips all the way to the floor up overhead. Gently pull with both arms. Soften through the fingers though, so don't do this with overstressing the fingers. All right, inhale both arms back up towards the ceiling. Right ankle can connect to the left knee here. So right outer ankle connects to the left knee. Very important to pause here and notice what you're doing. Sometimes before I really started bowspring, I would roll onto my back using my low back and it hurt. So if that at all sounds like something you might do, press the knee and the ankle into each other very strongly. Get the right glute to lift the right leg up. Rolling onto your back. If that is not an option for you, just roll onto your back and eventually cross the right ankle over the left knee. We're going to get situated here. So when we come from like this spinal twist, if we just roll onto our back, all the fascia is kind of like pulled in a weird direction, as if your t-shirt's being kind of pulled a certain way. So we're going to reset the body before we move further. Press into the left foot, hover the hips. Just pick them up off the floor a tiny bit. Lift the belly higher than the hips. Hips are sinking low, but they're not touching for the moment. Then press the hips down, leave the belly lifted. Untuck the right shoulder by lifting the right arm up, pressing into the back of the head. Set the right shoulder blade down and wide. So we're trying to get the right shoulder to move out to the right and feel bigger. Press into the back of the head, lift the left arm, widen the left shoulder blade, set it back down. Push the floor away from, if you're on hands and knees, you push the floor away from you. Here, imagine pushing up something that's a little bit heavy, like if you were doing weights, but energetic weights. Yeah. So arms super strong, lift the left foot up off the floor. Okay, options here, you might stay here. If you want more, stretch the arms and legs away from each other. Make sure the base ribs, the most bottom ribs, stay really big. Arms and legs pull away from each other. Press, 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 press really long. And then as you bring them back in, keep the belly and the throat long. The tendency is to get the belly and the throat short. Exhale, twist the legs to the right, arms to the left, but pause the legs. Don't go so far that you lose control and you kind of turn into a noodle. Inhaling up through center. Exhale, legs to the left, arms to the right. I'm just gonna slide this way because I realize I don't have space. Inhaling up through center. And then we're gonna repeat that once more. So legs move to the right, arms to the left. Option to pause and stay, or just rotate back and forth. Or option 3, my favorite, stretch the arms and legs away from each other. Get the belly, the throat long, unchuck the chin. Lengthen the neck. Exhale, arms and legs come back in. Inhale, opposite side, ankle still pressing into the knee, arms still pressing strong. Lengthen them away from each other if that feels good for you. Exhale, everything back in. Left foot comes down. Right hand comes to the back of the hamstring. Interclasp the hands. Press the foot up towards the ceiling. Option for little pulses here. Bending the knee. You can move the hands up and down the hamstring, almost resetting the hands in a different spot every time you pulse the leg. Softly release. Right hand comes up overhead. Roll to your right side. Take a moment here. Slide the hips back really far behind you so that the left knee, the left foot can come all the way down. Left elbow can come down, softening here. Keep the legs just as they are, so we're not changing the shape of the legs. They're gonna stay. Head rolls back and doing a little spinal twist here. Both arms stretch up towards the ceiling. Couple options. You can say soft. So if I say stop, I can't say that. If I say relaxed, then it puts a lot of stress in the T12 area, the center of my back, that's unwanted. It doesn't feel right for me anymore. I used to do this all the time, just very softly. And now I need to tone the muscles to lengthen the spine. So I don't want to just compress and twist. This feels more like compression if I don't tone. So if that compression is fine with you, if you feel good, stay. There's no judgment. It's what's best for you, for sure. If you want to try a different approach, press the left inner foot, the right outer foot. So the parts of your feet that touch your mat, press them down into your mat or into your floor. Knees energetically move forward. The hips lift up and back. So they're really lifted all of a sudden. That will make more space in the lowest part of the belly. Energetically press the arms down towards the legs. Keep pressing into the feet. Open through the throat, lifting the chin. Couple breaths here. With this tone, now I feel so much length and no compression. So it feels really nice, especially in the stomach for me. It's like, oh, it's amazing. I can't do most classes without this pose. I love it. Right hand to the outer left knee. Left fingertips all the way to the floor near the head. The thumb is closest to the head. Elbow up towards the ceiling. Energetically pull with both hands, softening through the fingers though. You don't want to do this with the hands, with the fingers. It's with the entire body. So don't overwork the fingers, especially that left hand. Get the belly really, really long. Inhale, bring both arms back up towards the ceiling. Left ankle and right knee can connect here. If they do, very important, press them into each other. Lift with the left glute, not with the low back. Press into the right foot, recenter the hips. And just take a moment, notice how, for me, I feel so off center. If I were to stay like this before the next pose, it'd drive me nuts. Because it's like the fascia's pulling. It's like if someone were just to, pull your clothes a certain direction all day, like, or just, you know what I mean? Like this kind of tug. So yeah, my little weird tendencies are now in your mind. Press your right foot down, lift your hips, lift your belly, and then keep the belly lifted. Set the hips down without flattening the low back. Keep a low back curve. This time, lift the left arm up, untuck the left shoulder. Lift the right arm up, untuck the right shoulder. You can even lift the back of the head up, and then set the back of the head down, lift through the throat. Notice how much just that little adjustment makes, how much more space you have in your body. Should feel amazing. Yeah, and you might stay here even if this feels perfect for you. Or press down into the hip, lift the right foot away from the floor. Option to pause and breathe. Or inhale, lengthen the arms and legs away from each other. Lift the chin away from the collarbones. As you bring everything back in, don't shorten the belly or the throat. Exhale, legs slightly left, arms slightly right, making sure not to go so far that you lose tone, that you lose control. Inhaling through center, exhale other way. Inhaling back up. Once more each side. Exhaling left with the legs, arms to the right. Option for that length, for that stretch. Arms and legs stretch in opposition, pushing away, lengthening. Deep breath. Exhale, draw everything back in. Belly and throat stays long. Inhale, legs to the right, arms to the left. Find some space, some length. Exhaling in. Release, right foot down. Stretch left foot up. Important here, and don't flatten the low back. I forgot to say that on the other side. So keep the belly long. Keep the natural shape of the low back. Bend the knee if you need. And then just press the hamstring into the hand, keeping the low back long. We want this to be a hamstring stretch, not a low back stretch. Little pulses in the leg. Feel free to move the hands up and down the hamstring. All right, release the leg. Last little tiny bit. Fingertips all the way to the floor, elbows up towards the ceiling. Pick up the hips, set them back down, recenter. Release that any little minute twist in the fascia. Bring the feet as wide as your mat if you have a mat. If you don't, bring them wider than your hips. Exhale. Let's do exhale, knees to the left, since you can see me better this way. Knees to the left. And then you might just pause here. This might be great. If you want more, left ankle to the right knee. Okay, you can relax here. Or option 2, press the right knee up into the left ankle down. Both knees lift up. Notice how that really gets into the deep psoas in the belly. Oh, so nice. Gently release the ankle if it's there. Inhale, both knees up. Exhale them to the right. Right ankle on top of the left knee. Ankle pulls down, knee lifts up. Notice as you do that lift, oh, it's like this amazing length in the belly that you just don't get without that lift. You might get more of a stretch if I were just to relax. I might get more in the hip flexor, but honestly, I don't need that in the hip flexor as much as in the belly. I feel like the hip flexors tend to be overstretched in certain areas of yoga. And for me, it was not beneficial. And everyone's different, so take it or leave it. But this is a great option to get into the lowest part of the belly instead of the hip flexor. Inhale, both legs up, releasing the ankle if it is there. Same little adjustment again. So pick up the hips, set them down, untuck the ribs, lift the head. And then as you extend both feet to the end of your space, gently lift and untuck the lowest part of the butt. Notice how that, it creates so much space in the low belly. Feels really nice. Lift the ribs, the shoulders away from the hips. Lengthen through the low back, lift the head, set the head back down. Exhale, closing the eyes, taking a few breaths here. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. And continuing to breathe softly. Nice circular breaths. Allow the breath to wash away any stress, any tension, any discomfort. Feel free to stay as long as you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and leave you here so that you can really tune in and notice and feel how long you might need to stay. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day.